Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kirsten here from Kirsten Foss Coaching for another Thursday Spa Business Break, where I am talking about your spa business and really how to make it more efficient so it's more pleasant to actually run, because we know that spa businesses there's a lot of moving parts and it can be extremely stressful and very frustrating if we don't have systems set up in our business. And the truth of the matter is that most spa owners don't have a lot of experience setting up systems. So especially when it comes to hiring a team and retaining a team, if you don't have things set up correctly at the very beginning, they can snowball into big problems not too far down the line with your team members. And I have heard, and I'm sure you guys have too in a lot of our different groups, a lot of rants, a lot of frustrations from spa owners who have had teams, and some of them to the point where they've just literally put their hands up in the air and said, I give up, I'm going back to a solo. So the whole month of April has been about teams and spa systems to help your teams be stronger, not just for themselves, but also to be able to contribute to your spa goals. Okay, so let's talk about staff retention and whether you have actually set up your business to be a job or whether you've set it up to have career opportunities within your facility for new hires. Now, I think if you've been around the block in this industry for a while, you will realize that there typically is not, there's not a lot of spas that have their like kind of a mapped out career path for their team members. And usually what happens in our industry is we get spa owners that are feeling like, oh, I really need to hire because I need somebody to take over my overflow. That's usually how it starts as a solo. Or if you were a spa with an existing team already, obviously you need, maybe you're going into the busy season right now and you're looking to hiring team members. But you want to, every time you hire, you try to do it a little differently and try to learn a bit more to try to support that flywheel concept of just doing little pushes after we get our system set up for especially for our teams. And so when we do the little pushes, which is essentially just following our systems and supporting our teams with our leadership, we have much, much better outcomes, not only with our teams with the guest experience, but also with our teams all collaborating together to work towards business goals in the spa. All right, so what's the difference between a job and a career? Well, a job is just something you do to earn money. So we've all had jobs. Most of the time we've started off in our teen years with a job, a part-time job. Usually not the most rewarding. I know for me, I think my first job, it was working at Burger King in Penticton, BC in the summer of, I think it was 87. And it was not a very rewarding job. It was Burger King, but it was actually rewarding in a lot of ways socially. But typically a job is just a job. A career is a series of connected employment opportunities. That's entirely different than a job. And I'd like to share a little quote from Simon Sinek that kind of speaks to this concept of a series of connected employment opportunities and taking it a little bit farther. He says, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. So that would be a job. Working hard for something we love is called passion. So I'm pretty sure that for those of you that are spa owners, you're really only still in it because you have a passion for it, right? And we know that passion, if we didn't have that passion and it would just be a job, we would have quit a way long time ago. So let's take this, that understanding and apply it to our team members or our prospective new hires. So the first thing I wanted to share with you was about just kind of the difference between a job and a career. The second point that I want to share with you is that if you want to attract and retain your hires, part of that piece of finding people that are passionate about the same things that you are has to do with aligned values. And what I know, most spa owners have never figured out their own values. They haven't figured out their own personal values or their professional values. And often with those of us who are entrepreneurs, they're very much connected. So if you're not clear about your own business values, like what does the business stand for? What do you stand for within the business? If you're not clear about what your values are, which is the base component of your spa promise, of your guest experience, of your team culture, if you don't have that clarity, then of course when you're hiring people to join your team, you're not even going to be really looking for that. You're not going to have that clarity of what to actually look for. You just have this idea that you're looking for somebody kind of like XYZ, or you're just basically going by kind of what you feel, and nothing is really logical or structured that way. So if you are thinking about hiring fairly soon, or you're just, it's time to get the next team member on board, and if you have not done a values exercise, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you do that exercise before you do your next hire. And then include your values, weave those values into your job description, weave those values into the job posting, and you absolutely must weave your values into your company culture, into your guest experience, all of your protocols. It has to all be connected. So then the last thing that I want to share with you about, I want to make a note about values. If you're like, oh yeah, values, I've been meaning to do that, or I've never heard about that, and I'm really curious about what my values actually are and how that would integrate into my business and how would that integrate into my team. I do have a values exercise, so you can either leave a comment here in below, or send me a DM, and I will send you the values exercise that I have. Now, I created this exercise when I was heading to the Beauty Business Summit and speaking there. Was speaking about leadership, and that was one of the key pieces of my my presentation, which had to do with activating innovation in your leadership. And you have to start with your values. Okay, sounds good. I will send you the link for that when I get off my Facebook Live. So yeah, put a comment in the thing, or send it to me as a DM, and I will send that link over to you, and you can get started on creating your own values exercise. Now, values, the other piece about values is that you can't just play lip service to it. So you can do your values and say, yeah, these are my 5 values, but if you don't imbue it into your business, if you don't integrate it into your company culture and your training and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of useless. But it is a very, very powerful tool. And it's a very powerful tool to be able to attract aligned team members, people who have the same passion as you. Then when you've attracted those aligned team members through the interview process, even if they're lacking in some skill, some technical skill, you can train that. You cannot train values. You cannot train passion. You cannot train alignment. It just has to be. And as a leader, it's really critical for us to first be clear about our own, so that we can be able to, that we can see it in other people, and we know the right kind of questions to ask. All right, the third point that I want to make about, are you maybe creating a job versus a career for your team members? It has to do with compensation. Now, compensation is a very big topic. It can be a very messy topic. There's a lot of opinions about compensation. There's a lot of opinions for your employees about compensation. But essentially what I mean about this topic is that your compensation system, whatever that looks like, and this works best if you have a tiered system, your compensation system can support your, kind of job versus career by having a mapped out process of their growth within the company. And it's all connected to their metrics. It has to be connected to their metrics, because their metrics are what is what's proving their value as an employee. So I am not one of those that believes that just because a staff member's been there for X amount of time that they should get a pay raise, or they should get, they should have more responsibilities if they want it. Absolutely not. They need to be able to prove themselves. And if you create a compensation system that has different levels in it, so that each level requires them to have higher metrics, and each level may also include more responsibility, but there's a clear pathway for their career growth within your company. It's not like, there's a lot of spas still out there that pay like, maybe it's just straight commission. And you're wondering how to keep your team motivated. There's no career path for straight commission. It is what it is. But when we can shift over into an hourly plus commission structure, like a step structure, or maybe something like what Strategies teaches is team-based pay. That's a fantastic model for career growth when it's built into your compensation system. But whatever you decide to create, your team needs to be able to see this process. So it needs to be documented. You need to be able to show it to them and walk them through the process of how they can grow within your company. That should be done at once they've been offered the job. So they can see right at the get-go, here's the entry-level position and all the different levels all the way up to a spa manager or spa director. And they know exactly what they need to do to bump up levels. Now, not everyone wants to be a leader. That's okay. We totally need that. We need some worker bees, but we also need our worker bees to be clear about how they can earn more money, how they can contribute more, how they can feel more valued within the company, how they can, if they want more education. So a compensation system, not just this is how much we pay, a compensation system is a really powerful way to create a career map within your company that team members see the opportunity for growth. And when they see the opportunity for growth and you have been coaching them and supporting them, not just with, great job today, but actually coaching them, supporting them on how to improve their metrics, how to improve their treatments. That's all part of creating a spa facility that facilitates careers rather than just jobs. So if you have something to say about, job versus career within this industry, let's have it. There is lots to say about this because there's plenty of service providers that feel like they're stuck in a job. They're not feeling super fulfilled, but it's, it's money, it's work. And I feel like you really do get much more out of your team members when you've hired for aligned values and when they see a very clear career path within your company. There's more buy-in from them. And when you have more buy-in, there's more connection. And when you have more connection, the whole process just works out way better, especially when you have it systematized. All right, that's it for, thanks Lisa, I'm glad you agree. That's it for me for Thursday Spa Business Break. I'll be back here next Thursday at 12 noon Pacific. And it's a new month, so I will be shifting over talking about customer service systems for you. That's going to be for the month of May. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and you're always welcome to send me a direct message. If there's something a little sensitive that you want to talk about, I'm always here for you. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next week.